I once had a patient who had a stroke here in surgery because she was too embarrassed to tell us about one key part of her medical history. She was shy and she thought she would be judged if she asked her doctors about her hormone therapy before going under anesthesia. My women patients still feel stigma talking about their hormones with their doctors, even though we know that the risks of undertreatment or overtreatment can be devastating, like here in surgery. So here's what happened to her so that you can speak up, because nice patients come out last in medicine. And sometimes you need to be the squeaky wheel to get the care that you deserve. The patient was a 58-year-old woman. Let's call her Vivian. Viv was having hip surgery and she was overall very healthy. She took very good care of herself. And I could tell because she wasn't taking any medications. At least that's what she told us initially. Viv's hip surgery went very well. There were some blood pressure changes throughout, but that can happen in any surgery, and that didn't strike me as unusual. What was unusual was that it took her a long time to wake up after anesthesia. We call that delayed emergence from anesthesia, and it can be caused from many things, typically from overdosing of medications or hypoglycemia, like if you just don't have enough blood sugar, you'll be kind of comatose. It can be from hypoventilation, also from overdoses, or there could be seizures, but ultimately no one could figure out why she wasn't waking up, so they had to transfer her to a hospital because her hip surgery was being done in an outpatient center, the way that most healthy folks are having these types of surgeries. At the hospital, she continued to be lethargic, so they finally did a brain scan to see what was going on upstairs. And what they saw was pretty uncommon because they saw a blood clot in her brain causing a stroke. Strokes are uncommon causes of delayed emergence from anesthesia, but they're some of the most serious. You can't tell if someone's having a stroke when they're asleep under anesthesia. You find out when they wake up, and there isn't always a lot that you can do about it, which is why prevention is key. Most strokes under anesthesia come from low blood pressure from the anesthesia gases or anesthesia medications. But Vivian's stroke was from a clot that had launched from somewhere in her body up to her brain, blocking blood flow. It's not impossible to form a clot under anesthesia, but it is pretty uncommon with all of the safety measures that we have in place, like these squeezy boots that ensure circulation in your legs, or shots of heparin to help dilute the blood. But the problem with hip replacement is we usually use a medication here called tranexamic acid. It's called TXA for short, and it helps break up blood clots, because during orthopedic surgeries where there's a high risk of blood clots, we don't want there to be unnecessary bleeding that might be harmful for the patient. But all of this is very standard for hip replacement surgery, so we were scratching our head about what caused Vivian's blood clot. It took Vivian a while to wake up, but that's when we finally got our answer. But to be clear, I'm not blaming Vivian, I'm not blaming the medical staff, I'm blaming the medical culture that has stigmatized women's health that led to this devastating outcome. Because once Viv was well enough to speak, she shared that she had been taking oral estrogen as hormone replacement therapy before the surgery. I felt that her experience was crushing because she said that all of her doctors had blown off her hormone concerns, so she went online to order hormone replacement therapy, or what we call HRT. And the website had sent her oral estrogen pills. And even though she felt so much better with her estrogen, she was afraid of being the squeaky wheel and afraid of being stigmatized for asking about her hormones or even bringing them up before going under anesthesia. The problem is that surgery is such an unnatural state for the body, and you need to tell your doctors everything that's going into your body, especially hormones. I love hormone balancing, and it's a big part of my medical practice, but it has to be done correctly to be safe and effective. Have you ever been prescribed hormone replacement therapy? Let me know your experience in the comments below. In Vivian's case, her oral estrogen needed to be given a lot of respect before surgery because of its very powerful clotting properties. In women's bodies, estrogen increases throughout pregnancy, in part, we believe, because it helps promote clotting, because at childbirth, women don't want to be bleeding out, and that risk of postpartum hemorrhage is very real and it can be lethal. So estrogen is known to promote blood clotting, whether it's produced in the body from the ovaries or if it's taken as a pill. That risk is so high that women already at risk for blood clots should never be given oral estrogen. And women going through high-risk activities like surgery, and especially orthopedic surgery, where there's a long period of immobilization and vascular injury, all of which promote clotting, should not be continuing oral estrogen because of the added risk of blood clots. Hormone replacement therapy is typically very safe with a trained professional who can navigate these scenarios, but the stigma around women's health makes it so difficult to find the right doctor. In fact, hormone replacement is the most holistic field in medicine, in my opinion, because you have to look at the patient as a whole, because all these hormones interact with each other, and you can't fix the patient without addressing each of the individual components. Unfortunately, women are at higher risk of hormone replacement complications, and they're more likely to be gaslit in the first place, especially over conditions that are hard to measure clinically, like pain or mood or depression. And Vivian's tragic outcome shows the cost of this stigma to women's health, where most doctors aren't trained well in hormone replacement and patients can't find the right doctors. There are so many nuances in hormone replacement therapy, including in the form the hormone goes into your body with. Oral estrogen, like what Vivian was taking, gets absorbed through your gut and goes through your liver, where it produces pro-clotting factors. This is very different than estrogen that enters your body through a patch where it bypasses that first stage of metabolism. And it's different than a cream or a pellet, and these are all nuances that you need to discuss with your doctor, especially before high-risk things like surgery, assuming your doctor knows how to handle hormones properly in the first place. Look, with high likelihood, Vivian's complication was 100% preventable if she had the right doctor who could convert her to a different form of estrogen, like a cream or a patch, or use a lower dose, or pause it for a couple of days. I don't want to couch quarterback here, but I want to reinforce to everyone listening, especially you women out there, that you need to speak up for your hormonal health. To learn more about my approach to bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, you can visit my San Francisco clinic's website at www.claris-health.com. If you learned something new, please share with your loved ones. And hit the like button and subscribe to keep up with all of my medical content. And remember, you have more power over your health than you've probably ever been told.